Okay, everybody, welcome to lesson 4. So far, we have looked at, you reviewed your integers, you looked at adding and subtracting fractions, and now today we're going to be talking about multiplying and dividing fractions. So let's get started. So when we go to multiply and divide fractions, the first general rule is to multiply fractions, you're going to multiply the numerators together and multiply the denominators together separately, and then simplify. So in a basic question like here, A, you have 1 over 3 times 2 over 5. So that's a basic fraction multiplied by a fraction, fraction times fraction. So the rule is simple. When multiplying fractions, multiply the numerators. Your numerators are 1 and 2. And then multiply the denominators. Your denominators are 3 and 5. And then that product you would simplify. So let's do that here. We have 1. So we have 1 times 2, which is 2. And then we have 3 times 5, which is 15. So our answer is 2 over 15. Now, I want you to notice something important. When we are multiplying fractions, we do not need to find common denominators. Moving to the next question, you'll see we have another fraction times fraction. So our first step we know is to multiply the tops and then multiply the bottoms. So we're going to multiply the numerators and then multiply the denominators. So our numerators are 2 and 4. So we will multiply 2 and 4. And that gives us 8. And then we'll multiply 5 times 9. And that will give us 45. And that will give us 8 over 45. Can we simplify that? The answer is no. So we leave it. Now moving on to the triple multiplication. So it's the same rule, we multiply straight across. So we're going to multiply all the numerators. So we're going to multiply 1 times 3 is 9. And then we will multiply across again all the denominators. 2 times 4 times 5, which gives us 40. So our answer is 9 over 40. Now, multiplying more fractions does not change the rule. The rule always stays the same. The rule is always multiply the numerators and then multiply the denominators. In that box where it says general rule, we can read that together. To multiply mixed fractions, turn them into improper fractions first, and then multiply the numerators together and multiply the denominators together separately, and then simplify. So here we have a mixed fraction. So our mixed fraction is the 2 with the 1 over 3. That's our mixed fraction times a fraction, 3 over 4. So whenever you see a mixed number, you have to stop. And first, turn that into an improper fraction. So now we have to turn the 2 over 1 over 3 into an improper fraction. So how do we do that? We multiply the denominator 3 by 2, which is 6, adding 1, which is 7. So we do 7 over 3. So let's make a side note. I will do that over here. So now that I have my improper fraction, I can do my multiplication rule and multiply my numerators by my denominators. So I can multiply 7 by 3, and then I can multiply 3 by 4. Now notice, can I simplify this? And I can. I can cancel out the 3's. So then, if I cancel these out, this becomes a 1, and this becomes a 1. So then my multiplication becomes easier. 7 times 1 is 7. 1 times 4 is 4. I now have to convert that back into a mixed number. So to convert that back into a mixed number, I have to see how many times does 4 go into 7? 1 time. And then I have to see what I am left over with. And then I am left over with 3 or 4. So now we have two mixed numbers in B. So we have to convert both mixed numbers into improper fractions and then do the multiplication rule. So let's convert both of these into improper fractions. So let's do this one. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7. So we have 7 over 5 times 2 times 6 is 12, plus 5 is 17 over 6. And now we can do multiplication. So we have some big numbers, and the big numbers are okay. That is just the answer to our question. So 7 times 17 is 119. 5 times 6 is 30. Now we have to convert this back to our mixed number. So how many times, and for this, you might have to grab a calculator. That's okay. How many times does 30 go into 119? So our big number is 3. And then we have to see what we are left over with, and that is 29 over 30. And we would not simplify that anymore. That will be our final answer. So summarizing multiplication, you multiply the tops and you multiply the bottoms. And that's it. Dividing fractions. So to divide fractions, we're going to read this little box together with the light bulb. Turn the second fraction, the divisor, upside down into a reciprocal. That's what it means. And multiply the numerators as well as the denominator together. And then simplify. So division, it sounds scary, but it's actually easier. So in a division, you keep the first fraction, and then you flip the second fraction, and then you multiply. So we know our multiplication rule already. So you keep the first fraction, flip the second fraction, and then multiply. So let's try with this one. We have 1 over 2 divided by 1 over 4. So we have to keep the 1 over 2. And then we flip the second one. Okay, so let's do that. And we multiply. And now we just do our multiplication rule. So we know 4 times 1 is 4, and 2 times 1 is 2. So we can simplify that. We know that 4 over 2 is 2. Now, how does that make sense? So, how many quarters fit into a half? If you think about a cake, how many quarters of that cake fit into half of that cake? And the answer is 2. Going to the next one, we have 1/3 divided by 1/5. So we're going to keep the first fraction. We're going to flip that second fraction. So it's going to become 5/1 and multiply. So we have 5 times 1 is 5/3. Now this we can turn into a mixed fraction because that's an improper fraction. So how many times does 3 go into 5? 1. And then what are we left over with? 2/3. Now here we have a whole number divided by a fraction. Whenever we see a whole number, to make that into a fraction, we put it over 1. So if the 2 is our whole number, we're going to put 2/1. So first we're going to keep our first fraction, which would be 2/1. And then we're going to flip our second fraction, which would be 8/1, and then multiply. So we have 16/1. Any number over 1 is a whole number, so our answer will be 16. And our last question here. We have 2 mixed fractions. So we're going to convert the 2 mixed fractions into an improper fraction and then follow our division rule to then follow our multiplication rule. So first is to convert. First, we will convert this into an improper fraction. So 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5, and we keep our denominator. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. We're going to keep our denominator. Okay. Now we have to keep our first fraction. We're going to flip our second fraction and multiply. So our answer will be 20/27. 5 times 4 is 20. 3 times 9 is 27. And will we simplify that any further? The answer is no, we will not. So that brings us to the end of our multiplication and division handout. So now you can review this and then feel free to start your homework handout. Good luck.